Good day to one and all. This is Dr.Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. I'm extremely sorry for the delayed presentation of the webinar due to some technical issues. So I'll be glad to give the Asian session live market analysis and the forecast for this week, 19th to 23rd of October. So now it is around 6:12 GMT. I'll be presenting the forecast for the entire week, session-wise forecast for the week. Then also I'll give you the range in which the currencies could be trading in this week. Besides, I will also do the market reading and the derivations of the type of moves they could do. Then later on, I will give the recommended trades for today, and that you can make use of in your demo trading platform. So normally I'll be giving the Asian session live market analysis webinar with a forecast on Mondays, and Fridays I'll be reviewing it. And yesterday I was not available to present the webinar. That is why I'm just giving it today, Tuesday, and I'll do the review of it on Friday and see how far the forecast has come true. So the session-wise forecast for this week, Monday to Friday, is given in my next slide. Okay. Now, yesterday was 19th of October, and there was swing and firm up on the slide during that of the European session as the week beginning false move, and they made a small firm up move during that of the US session. And today they are just expected to make the swing and slide during that of the Japanese session, and we are at the late part of the Japanese session, and from here they are expected to make the swing and rise during that of the European session. Then there could be some profit booking move on the higher side, and swing and slide move could be seen tomorrow during the US session of today. And tomorrow, Wednesday, they are expected to make the swing and firm up during that of the Japanese session, and then higher level swing and slide during the European session, and then swing and rise during that of the US session. And you know that on Thursday, there's going to be ECB press conference. So in anticipation of that, they are expected to make a dip during that of the start of the Japanese session and firm up, and this swing at the middle level, and then start making the slide during that of the ECB press conference time. And after that, they are expected to make further drop, swing and drop during that of the US session. That may give the impression to that of the traders that there could be further fall in the case of Euro and GBP, but they gain initially and later on only drop. So there won't be much of a drop in the market. And then subsequently, tomorrow, on Friday, 23rd of October, they will make a swing and firm up move during that of the Japanese session, and swing and rise during that of the European session, and some profit booking move towards the close. Then the last week of October, that is the following week, you'll come across 26th to 30th of October. That will be the last week, so the market is expected to show the volatile moves, and being the month-end trend reversal time. And also from 25th onwards, you'll come across the daylight saving system is switched off. As a result, you'll find there will be small changes in the session timings that I will show you with the help of the next slide. So today, this is the expected range in this particular week. So they are expected to make a come down to that of 1.12, most likely on Thursday, and then they are expected to gain the levels back again to 1.15. And in the case of GBP, they could come down to 1.53 and then gain to 1.6. And in the case of USD from 119, they could slowly gain the level to that of 122 area. And CHF from 0.95 to 0.9850 level. So 0.9850, they could gain 2. And in the case of Canadian dollar, 1.2825 could be the low, 1.31 could be the high. In this range, they are expected to swing. And Australian dollar also, slowly they are expected to swing near that of low, around 0.7250, and then slowly gain to 0.74 area. So these are all the expected ranges, and the market is expected to make mostly sideways move like yesterday, how they had done it during the US session. Coming to that of the market reading, you find that euro formed the low 1.1324 as the low, which is not breached, and 1.1340 is the high that is also not breached, indicating that they are simply holding it with a narrow range consolidation. And in the case of GBP, 1.5459 is the low, 1.5479 is the high. They just breached the high by 2 pips, 1.5481, and then come to 1.5471 area. Then CHF was showing the initial lows, and yen 119.42 is the low they formed now, but 119.45 is the initial low, 119.55 is the initial high. They just made a brief downward stop and for 3 pips, and then they are slowly coming up again in the case of USD, which is showing a negative net change when Euro and GBP are showing positive net change. So overall, you come across the USD weakening move here. But in the case of commodity pairs, they are showing contrarian move, that we are able to see that they are showing the positive net change. Then in the case of CHF, 95.54 is the low, 95.68 is the high. They are not breached the low or the high. Then Canadian dollar, 1.3014 is the low, 1.3048 is the high, which is also not breached. And 72.42 is Australian dollar low, and 72.76 was the high, and they just breached it by 2 pips. So they are likely to gain the levels in the case of Euro and GBP slowly during the day. That's what we come across here. So now we will come to that of the trade recommendations. And as you come across in the case of Euro, the low is 1.1324, the high is 1.1340, but the spread is less than 40 pips. And in the case of yen also, the spread is less than 40 pips. And in the case of GBP, the spread is slightly increased, but still it is only about 20 pips. And then here again, in the case of CHF, also the spread is low, but in the case of commodity pairs, the spread is around 30 pips. So everywhere the spread is less than 40 pips. So it might be not a good idea straight away enter into the market. So we will take the, we will keep the limit orders to take the positions. So I'm just going to that of the editing mode, so that I'll be able to type it. Then later on, I will come to that of the slideshow. So Euro formed 1.1324. They are likely to make a brief downward stop and then gain. So we will keep 10 pips below 1.1314 by limit. And the exit will be about 45 pips above or 30 pips, whichever is convenient for you. So 30 pips above, I'm just keeping the exit or the take profit order, and the entry stop or the stop order is 30 pips below the market or below the entry level. So it will be 1.1286. Then in the case of GBP, 1.5459 is the low. Again, I'll keep a buy limit. $1.5448, just about 10 pips below, so that if they make a downward stop and we'll be able to get a fill, and then 30 pips above 1.1454 or 45 pips. In the case of GBP, they could make quick moves. So 1.5493. Then the hedge order 30 pips below 1.5418. So in these two currencies, I have given the trade recommendations, and as soon as the trade is filled or the limit orders are filled, you can follow and find out how exactly the market is making the move, and then you can find out what happens to that of the market in line with that of the expectations of the forecast. Then from next week onwards, you will come across the daylight saving time is switched off in Europe, but still it will be on till 1st of November. So in Europe, the Japanese session timings will be altered. So 0030 to 7:30 will be the Japanese session from next week, and from 8 to 13, because US will be still following next week the daylight saving, but Europe will be switching off to that of the standard time. So the European session timing will be reduced to 18 to 13 GMT. Then 30 to 2030 will be the usual time. Then following week we'll come across the daylight saving system will be switched off in US. As a result, Europe will follow 8 to 14 GMT, and 14:30 to 21:30 will be the US session. These are all the changes we will see during the session, during that of the daylight saving system switched off conditions till March. So I'll be giving the next webinar, live market analysis and the forecast, on 23rd of October by GMT. That is on Friday. During that, I will review the forecast, what I have given it, and you will also find out how exactly the market has behaved during this particular course of time. And also for the ECB press conference, they are expected to make a quick slide and then start gaining the levels afterwards from Friday. So watch for it. And soon I'll come out with that of the quick updates for 15 minutes whenever there is a quick trade opportunity or opportunity trades available in the market. The recording of the webinar, the links will be placed in iknowindices.com/blog and also in fxstreet.com under analysis, Forex live analysis room, interviews, archives. There you will come across. In case we don't find all those things, you simply go to YouTube and search for Dr. Sivaraman Asian session. It will be listed in another 10 to 15 minutes soon after the webinar is over. So if there are any questions, I am willing to answer those questions. You can ask in the question answer window. Otherwise, I'll just give you a brief review about what I have explained it. Okay, there are not forthcoming with questions because there is a delayed start, I understand. So anyhow, You can listen to the recorded webinar and subsequently you can ask the questions if you have, and I'll be willing to answer those questions. My contact details are given here. dr@iknowindices.com is my email ID, and my Skype chat ID is iknowindices@hotmail.com. So I have given the forecast for this week from 19th October to 23rd of October. The market is expected to make the swing and rise moves, and only on Thursday there could be a drop after that of the ECB press conference in the case of Euro, and GBP might be holding and gaining in order to handle Euro GBP cross, and then subsequently they are expected to form up the last level on Friday, 23rd of October. Then, with regard to the range in which the currencies are expected to trade, 1.12 to 1.15 area in the case of Euro, 1.53 to 1.56 in the case of GBP, and 190 to 120 to 50 in the case of Yen, 95 to 98.50 in the case of CHF, and 1.2825 to 1.31 in the case of USD CAD, 70 to 50 to 74.25 in the case of Australian dollar. They are all the expected ranges. And today, as far as the market reading is concerned, they have not done any breaching of the initial lows and the highs in the case of Euro, but in the case of GBP, they just breached the high by about 2 pips, and Yen, they are not breached. They have breached the low by 3 pips, and CHF, they are not breached the low or the high, and Australian Canadian dollar also, they are not breached the low or the high, and Canadian dollar, they breached the high they are not breached the low or the high, and Australian dollar also, you come across, they are not breached the low, but they breached the high by about 2 pips. Only in the case of GBP and Australian dollar, they breached the high, indicating that slowly they are expected to make the USD weakening move in the market. So these are all the recommended trades I have given it, and near that of the low or slightly below the low, I kept the buy limit orders in the case of Euro and GBP, with the profit taking level of 45 pips and 30 pips respectively, with the hedge order to limit the risk. And once a position makes profit, you can keep stop at entry, 15 to 20 pips profit, you can keep stop at entry and remove the hedge order, and allow the market to either hit your stop at entry or the limit order to take profit, or trail that stop in a profit making position. Then from next week onwards, you'll come across the timings will get changed during Japanese and the European session. Japanese session will gain by 30 pips, 30 minutes. So it will be up to 7:30 GMT. 7:30 to 8 will be the gap time, and 8 to 13 will be the European session. And then you come across the gap time under the US session timings as usual. So I'll come back on Friday, 23rd of October, and present the next webinar. Okay. So I take this opportunity to thank FX Trade for the facilities provided to present the webinars, and I'll come back on Friday and give you the forecast for the week, for the day, and also try to review the forecast what I have given it during this particular week, so that we will be able to understand the dependability of the forecast. Thank you one and all. See you on Friday.